Hello, powerful one. Welcome to this edition of Inner Growth. It says why Elimi. Today, we want to be discussing the issue of taking your presence wherever you go. Now, you'll be asking me, are you saying that when I go anywhere, I don't go with myself? Of course, you don't. Most of the times, you go with the presence of your background. You take your background with you to wherever you go. That's what we do. This is why we respond to things adversely, because those things are challenging our backgrounds. That's why people who meant no harm whatsoever against us take the brunt from our wrath, because we feel that they are antagonizing us by just simple comments or by simple actions or inactions that they find themselves exhibiting before us. So you might ask me, how do I carry my presence with me? Your presence, remember, you are soul, and soul is perfect. Soul cannot be harmed. Soul cannot be sad. The soul cannot be morose. It cannot be depressed. It cannot be in a state of hate. That is not the level of soul. We are saying that your presence is soulful presence. Don't take ego presence with you, because that presence is full of the past. It is loaded with memories. It is loaded with past hurtful identities. Drop them. That's what we are talking about. Well, we will say more of this when we come back from this break. I am Osezwa Anthony Elimi. You know me. I am in the game of helping you grow from inside out. That is the drill. You are welcome back. So, what does that mean? I'm simply saying that your presence is power. Your presence is light. Your presence is negativity dissolving. If you come across negativity and it is seducing you to be negative along that line, then that is not you being present in the circuit. What is present there is your history, your victim history. People are angry at you, people are throwing insults at you, and you are compulsed to respond in like manner. That is not the real you. That is a powerless entity operating within your system. We are saying, take your power with you whenever you go out, anytime, any day. When you go with your powerful presence, with your real self, the soul power within you, when people do that, first of all, you empathize with them. You know, you don't see a madman drinking from the gutter and you are tempted to go and join the madman to drink in the gutter. You won't do that, because you are not operating the same wavelength. But when somebody comes to you with injury, maybe it's driving rough and is blaring the horns at you and is insulting you, and you respond in same manner, it means that you and that person are of the same wavelength, it's the same madness. So what you are angry at is inside of you. It is like that man who sees feces and is spitting, meanwhile in his bowels there are feces. You see, so please, my friend, let go of these things, because these injuries, they happened in your past. They were not meant to be continued. But when you live with these injuries, you live with this mentality of these injuries, first you stop your life and begin to live the life of the injury. Did you know that when you are ill, there's a way you live separate from when you are well? If you had a cut on your leg, there's a way you walk. You limp because there's an injury there. Now, when you are healed of that injury, how do you walk? It's a new way. Now, go and look at how were you behaving before this injury, this mental injury, these injurious aunts, these injurious stepfathers, stepmothers came into your life. How was your life before then? That is the life you need to wake up. The life of bliss, the life of joy. You can only pick that life up when you heal today. Because if you don't heal yourself, you will keep walking. You will keep living in the same way that you have been living since the injury came into existence. Because a sick person does not live and feel the same way a healthy person feels. Stop being sick. Wake up from this sickness and live a life of health. That is what we are talking about today. Your background is your program. It could be your birth program, or it could be your learned program. We have already said in earlier videos that wherever you find yourself, either as a profession or as a religion or whatever vocation you find yourself in, the environment of these things generates some forms of snapshots of personalities that come together to form the building blocks of your being. Therefore, they rub off on you. You know that your religion affects you, your culture affects you, your parental background, your familial background affects you. Everything affects you, because these are all character or personality defining organs of the physical world. They are the environment. They affect us one way or another. So there are certain things you don't expect to take as a doctor, as a footballer, as a dentist, as a lawyer, as a teacher, as a man of God. There are things you shouldn't take from people. There are things you shouldn't accept. You know, the certain characteristics that just influence the totality of a person. But we are saying today that it's about time to let these things rest. Sometimes too, our background, our historical background are actually influencing our decisions. You grew up in a family where the women of the house, maybe your father's wives, were devious, they were devilish. You had a stepmom that was very brutal, that was abusive. You find yourself subconsciously showing attitudes that are vengeful on other women just because they are women. And when you see them, what you actually see subconsciously is your stepmom. You've seen those women who were very injurious to you in your past. You cannot trust them. You take stories from those women and plaster it on them, which means that you are actually seeing other women through the lenses of the hideous, of the devious women in your past. This is why we're saying it is very, very important as a human being when you wake up in the morning to define your life. Define that life very clearly. Do not allow your past, your background to define your present. Because if they do, you are going to have a life that your father had with those women. You are going to have a life that you had with those women, with the new women in your life. So this is not about you just forgiving for the sake of forgiving. This is about you giving yourself the permission to create a new life. You see? Because if you don't let these women go, if you don't let those experiences of your background go, you will never have a life that is after your conscious desires, of your conscious dreams. It's not just a man alone. Women, most ladies who have been damaged by men in their past, maybe their fathers were abusive, or their stepfathers were abusive, their brothers, their uncles were abusive, they turn out to take those hatred, to take those injuries against other men in their lives. They find themselves moving from one relationship to the other. They find themselves hurting men who could have been useful to them. They damage men that come into their lives. Why? Because every man is a dog. Every man is useless. Every man is a rapist. Every man is an abuser. What do men really want? It's not just to use us and dump us. That's all. That is the man story in their lives. They see men as privileged and they see themselves as victims. Each time they come into contact with a man who seems to be close to them, maybe by way of the man being their boss or the man being a suitor, a date, a boyfriend or something, they find the buttons of those experiences with those other men who were damaged and ruinous being pressed. And they start acting towards these men in that same fashion. By these actions, they push good people away. And this is why the only men that can come into their spaces are men who are users, who are deadly, because they can take the insults. They can take the distrust because they will work on it, because they are not sincere people. They are not interested in staying in these women's lives forever. So they come into the space, suck the bitchiness of these ladies, and then get what they want and move away. because they are not really interested in the long haul. Therefore, they can take it for the short run. But the decent men who want to stay for the long haul, who want to have a meaningful relationship with these ladies, cannot take these things. Even when these men want to be kind, they want to help these ladies to heal, the women will not give them the chance, because all they are seeing is, oh, like my uncle, like my father, like my brother, like my first lovers. This is all they see. They don't see anything good. Now, these people, both the guy who has an injurious stepmom and the lady who had an injurious stepfather or brother or anything, all they are doing is either repeating the cycle of their past experiences, or they are busy running away from that experience, running away from the possibility of having those experiences. So all men who are showing interest in them become potential oppressors from their past. So what are we talking about? These women, these guys, these people, they are not leaving their homes on a daily basis as they. When they wake up from their sleep in the morning, they don't wake up as new individuals. They are never fresh. They are caked, burnt, and old. They are not new. All right. Meanwhile, the steadfast love of the Lord, which never ceases, is new every morning. Every morning provides every human being the opportunity to become a new life, to fashion a new life, because you are a being. You are not a being. You are a being. You are in the process. But when you allow your past to become the definer of your present, you are not a being. You are a being. You are not even human. Therefore, taking your presence with you simply means that when you step out in the morning, or even if you didn't step out, you were in your house, but as long as you are aware and you are about, and you come across human beings exhibiting certain characteristics that are contrary to your defined life, you understand that it is their life, not yours. You will not expose yourself to the contagion of their madness. Therefore, such talks like, he made me do it, they made me do it, will not happen. Because when they are exhibiting their things, you remember, hey, this is who I am. I'm not my old self. I am not party to that life. You see, that passport that person is showing belongs to a country that I no longer belong in. I have changed my mental nationality. I am not a victim. I am a victor. I am a self-definer. I am a person of praise, a person of power, a self-inventor. I have moved past my injuries. Remember, there was a time before these injuries happened to you, you were some sweet, loving baby. You were some sweet, loving young person. You had fun out of life. You had joy out of life. We are saying to you, go back to that person. Let the damaged person go for good. Give yourself the permission to let the damaged person go. That damaged boy, that damaged girl, let them go, because you need to breathe. Breathe, brother. Breathe, sister. Breathe. Let the real you come out. Stop looking at life from the lenses of your injuries. Stop looking at life from the history that have long been enacted by dead humans. You are a fresh entity. You cannot use your past, your history, as an excuse for your mess today. A lot of people are so wrapped up in these injuries that they have formed a movement out of it. They have formed a club out of it. They have formed a system of relationship out of it, that they keep talking about their injuries. They keep living in line with their injuries. These lives are not real because they are stories. And these stories are propagating themselves in their life because they are feeding the stories with energy. You don't need that. Let your life be the story you will be happy to tell. Let your life be the story you will be pleased to exhibit. Let your life be that life you will be happy to relive today and tomorrow. Is it not possible that even if you cannot be your real self, that there could be moments in your past when people were nice to you, when life was beautiful? Couldn't you go back to those lives and reenact them? Couldn't you go back to those life stories and reenact them? Why is it so easy for you to stay and stick with hurts, injuries? Why? Life is a place of game playing. People will always hurt people, but it depends on what you do with that hurt. Don't define yourself on the basis of the hurts others have given you. You are insulting your humanity when you do that. Wake up. Power to become a new you is always with you. Use it. Thank you.